Good morning, student. Today we will discuss about tissue. Firstly, we have to clear our mind in the definitions of tissue. The definitions of tissues are: a tissue is a group of cells similar in structure that work together to perform a specific function. Yes, the group of cells is known as tissue. Lots of cells make tissues and tissues makes organ and organ make the organ organization for the special function. Example, our eyes are made of lots of cells. It means it is made of tissues, and tissues make the organ, and the eyes is a organ, and organ the eyes organ has to see. That means it is work the special function is same. And the different type of plant tissue include permanent and meristematic tissue. Yes, plant tissue is two types. That means it is permanent and meristematic in case of speaking. But tissue is group of cells. Now, tissue is divided into the two forms. The forms are plant tissues and animal tissue. Look at this picture. This picture is shows you about tissues. Here, look at this picture. It is just a microscopic picture. Here, lots of cells make together and make tissues. That is the lots of cells present in this picture. It is grouped together and make the organ. Okay, here that is the microscopic view. Here, look at this. A plant tissue is made of group of cells. These cells are either similar or dissimilar in the case of a structure, function and origin. And plants of higher level shows level of cellular organization. Yes, it shows the cellular organization. Cellular organization means when the tissues make a unique organ, and the unique organ make and ending the functions. That term is known as cellular organization. Okay, overview of the type of plant tissue begin study in this chapter. Here we divide the plant tissue into the two forms. The forms are meristematic. Plant tissue divided into the two forms. The forms are meristematic and permanent. Meristematic tissue shows the cell division, but permanent tissue does not show the cell division. And what is cell division? The cell division means when the plant cell is mature, it is divided into the forms. The forms is either 1, 2, 3, 4. That terms is known as cell division. Okay, when the cell is mature, that term is known as cell division, and the division of cell is known as cell division. Let clear this. In the sexual reproduction in flowering plant, the megasporogenesis shows the cell division. Okay, what is cell division? Now look at this. Here, in the case of sexual reproduction in flowering 2N, it means MMC. Megaspore mother cells contain two numbers of cells 2N. After the meiosis first division, it is divided into the two forms, that is N and N in the meiosis first. After meiosis second division, it is divided into the four forms N, 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 N. 3N is degenerated. One make megaspores that head into generative and vegetative cells. Okay, that term is known as cell division. It means meristematic tissue shows the cell division, but the permanent tissue does not show the cell division because it is incapable of cell division. Here, permanent tissue divided into the two forms The forms are simple and complex. Simple and complex. It means permanent tissue divided into the two forms, simple and complex. Simples are tissue composed of a single cell, but complex tissue is made of more than one types of cell. That term is known as, that is the difference between simple tissues and complex tissue. It means simple tissue is made of only one type of cells, but complex cells is made of more than one cells. Okay. Now learn about the simple tissue. Simple tissue divide into the four forms या four categories. The categories are epidermis, parenchyma, chorenchyma, sclerenchyma, and the parenchyma, also known as chlorenchyma. Okay, now the simple tissue. It means simple tissue shows the cell division, and it is made of single cell type. It is divided into the four categories. The categories are epidermis, parenchyma, chorenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma, chorenchyma is also known as chlorenchyma. Okay. Now let us learn about the complex tissue. Okay. Complex tissue, the definitions of complex tissue is, it is made of more than one cell type, and it is divided into the two forms, xylem and phloem. Xylem divided into the two forms, xylem vessels and tracheids. Phloem divided into the also two forms, slip tubules and companion cell. That means xylem makes xylem vessels and tracheids, but the phloem makes the slip tubules and the companion cell, and companion cell and slip tubule present in phloem into the complex form. It is in the form of permanent tissue. Okay, and xylem, it changes into the xylem vessels and tracheids. Understood? Now overview this. Once again overview this picture. Okay, look at this. Look at it. Plant tissues divide into the two forms. That forms are meristematic and permanent. Meristematic shows the cell division, but permanent tissue does not show the cell division. Permanent tissue divided into the two forms, simple and complex. Simples are made of only one cell type. Complex are made of more than type of cells, and simple cells are divided into the four categories. The categories are epidermis, parenchyma, chorenchyma, sclerenchyma, and parenchyma, sclerenchyma is known as chlorenchyma. In case of complex tissue, it is divided into the two forms. The forms are xylem and phloem. Xylem have xylem vessels and trachea, but phloem have slip tubules and companion cell. That is the overview of plant tissues. Okay, the tissues, plant tissues are made. Overview of this plant of tissue. Okay, now study about, and we know that the definitions of plant tissue. A tissue is group of cell, either it is plant or animal. The definitions of tissues are, a tissue is group of cells similar in structure. Yes, it is similar in structure that work together. Yes, in the case of our eyes, there are two eyes now, but it is similar in structure and working is similar together to the perform specific function. Yes, our eyes is working as the form of seeing. Different type of plant tissue include permanent and meristematic tissue. Yes, we know that the plant tissues are two types. That types are meristematic and permanent. Meristematic shows the cell division, but permanent tissue does not show the cell division. In case of permanent tissue divided into the two forms, the forms are simple and complex. Simple tissues are made up of single cell, but complex tissues are made of more than cells. And simple tissues are divided into the four forms. The forms are epidermis, parenchyma, chorenchyma, sclerenchyma. Parenchyma and chorenchyma is also known as sclerenchyma, but complex tissue divided into the two forms. The forms are xylem and phloem. Xylem divided into the two forms and make xylem vessels and tracheids, but phloem makes the slip tubules and companion cells. So it is permanent and meristematic tissue. It is so in the case of plant tissue. Okay. Now we learn about what is plant tissues. Okay. What is plant tissue? We are clear. Now we are discussed about meristematic tissue. What is meristematic tissue? That means here look at this picture. That is a stem. Okay. It has three parts. The parts are apical, meristematic, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Okay. Firstly, we have to clear our mind in what is meristematic tissue, what is the function, what is the structure, what the things are present in meristematic tissue. Okay, firstly we have to clear. After this we discuss about this picture. Okay, now let us come here. Asking about meristematic tissue. These tissue have the capability to develop by the active division. Yes, only meristematic tissue has the capability to develop the active division. It means it show the cell division. That means it show the cell division. The cell division is known as active division. After the maturity, the assist is the major growth of the vegetation. Yes, it is growth by the help of vegetation. Vegetation means it makes the part. Vegetative apartments are grown by the vegetation, and generative apartments are also grown by the generative cells. Growth is the length and growth in diameter of the plant are carried about by this cell. Yes, growth in length and growth in diameter of the plant. It means diameter of plant and the growth are carried by the meristematic tissue. That is the function, that is the character of the meristematic tissue. The characters are its growth, the length, its growth in the diameter of the plant that are carried about by the meristematic tissue. Meristematic cells are cuboidal. It is look like cubicle. Thin living cells, yeah, thin living cell. It shows the thin living cell. What is the meaning of thin living cells? Because growth is going on and growth is mortable show. It shows the thin living cells. By these cells, the meristematic tissues made up of cellulose. Yes, it is made of cellulose. These cells are completely arranged with no intercellular space. It means there are no spaces in this tissue. That term is known as intercellular space. Intercellular space means when the two cells are present, between the two cells there are some space. That term is known as intercellular space. But in the case of meristematic tissue, the no intercellular space are changed. That is the capability of the meristematic tissue. Depending on the sections where are the meristematic tissue are exiting, they are categorized as meristems, intercalary, lateral and apical. Yes, meristematic tissue divided into the three forms. The forms are apical, intermeristematic and lateral. The terms are seen in the case of only meristematic tissue. It means the meristematic tissue has capability to developing. It shows the growth. It shows the growth of vegetations. It is cubicles, living cells. It is made of cellulose. It is completely arranged the intercellular space. And depending on the sections where the meristematic tissue are exiting, they are categorized into the three forms. The forms are apical, intercalary and lateral.